Okay, in this section, we're going to be talking about volume, mass, and temperature. And again, we're going to be using dimensional analysis in order to solve or to convert units, I should say. But the cool thing about this is that you've already been practicing with dimensional analysis. And once you have the hang of that, then you can convert anything. It doesn't matter what it is. You just have to keep in mind that process of dimensional analysis. And, and the beauty of the metric system is that the prefixes are all that matters. You know, we change our original units, meaning like meters is our linear measurement, grams is a mass measurement, and liters is a volumetric measurement. And those things change, but our prefixes don't change. So, for instance, like kilo, when it's in front of meter, it means 1,000 meters. When it's in front of grams, it means 1,000 grams. And when it's in front of liters, it means 1,000 liters. So that prefix of kilo always means 1,000 of those original or base units. Centi always means 0.01 of those base units. So once you get the hang of that, then converting within the metric system becomes very easy. Now, converting between metric and English system is a little bit more complicated, and for that you need some conversion factors. So here we have listed out um, some conversion factors. 1 inch is equivalent to 2.54 centimeters. 1 kilogram is equal to 2.2 pounds. That's not 2.21, it's 2.2 lbs. And then 1 liter is equivalent to 1.06 quarts. If you know those off the top of your head, you can convert between English and metric no matter what they give you. Those are the core things that you have to know. Now, I've also listed out some others here because with our English system, nothing is the same. That's the beauty of the metric system, because everything is a power of 10. But with our system, we have, 2 cups in a pint, 2 pints in a quart, 4 quarts in a gallon. There's no consistency with things. 1 pound is 16 ounces. So I went ahead and wrote those out for you just in case, because some are very familiar with it and some are not. So I thought you would have those out. And then here's also another one that is very, very helpful to you, and that is that 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. And we're going to be using that also. All right, are you ready to try some problems? Let's try some problems and see what we get. This says convert 8 cubic meters to cubic centimeters. Okay, so we're going to start off. Remember, we're doing this dimensional analysis. So we're going to start off with what we're given, which is 8 cubic meters, and we're putting that over 1. Now, we don't want meters, so I'm going to put that on bottom. We do want centimeters, so I'm going to put that on top. And there is a relationship between centimeters and meters. If you'll remember, 0.01 meter in 1 centimeter. But now we're not done, because these meters will not cancel with meters cubed. In order to do that, we're going to have to cube the top and cube the bottom. Well, 1 centimeter cubed is 1 cubic centimeter. But we also need to cube the bottom here. So 0.01 times 0.01 times 0.01 is actually 0.000001 cubic meter. And now the cubic meters will cancel, and I can go ahead and take 8 divided by 0.000001, and we end up with, or at least we should if we do it correctly, 8 million cubic centimeters. Okay. All right, now let's try another one and see if we're getting the hang of it. This says convert 200 cubic inches to cubic yards. So again, we're going to start off with what we're given, which is 200 inches cubed. and put that over 1. And now we don't want inches, so we're going to put that on bottom. Now we could go straight to yards, or we could take an intermediate step, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to go from inches to feet first. And when we do that, we know there are 12 inches in 1 foot. But again, inches will not cancel with cubic inches, so we have to cube the entire thing, top and bottom. When we do that, 1 cubic foot it becomes 1 cubic foot, cubing it. And when we cube 12, we end up with 1728 cubic inches. Now our cubic inches will cancel, but we're left with cubic feet, and we don't want that. So I'm going to do another conversion factor from feet to yards. And again, there are 3 feet in 1 yard, but I don't want feet, I want cubic feet. So I'm going to have to cube the whole thing. 1 yard cubed is 1 cubic yard, and 3 feet cubed is actually 27 cubic feet. So I need to go ahead and do the cube first. Now we can go ahead and we can take 200 times 1 times 1 divided by 1728 divided by 27. Remember, everything on top you multiply by, everything on bottom you divide. And we should end up with 0.0043 cubic yards. Alright, let's do some fun ones. Some word problems. Those are always a lot of fun. This one says a swimming pool in the shape of a right rectangular prism, so it would mean like a box, is 30 meters by 15 meters. If it is 3 meters deep throughout, how many liters of water does it hold? Okay, well, this is a two-step problem because first we need to figure out the volume of this swimming pool. So we do know we have a formula for volume of a right rectangular prism is length times width times height. So if I figure that out, the length of this pool is 30 meters, the width of this pool is 15 meters, and the height, or the depth, depending on how you want to think about it, is 3 meters. So when we multiply those all together, we end up with a volume of 1350 cubic meters. But now they didn't want cubic meters. They want us to write our answer in terms of liters. So we need to convert this over. So I'm going to put it over 1. Well, in order for me to change things over to liters, the only conversion that I have between meters and liters is that conversion that I gave you on the first page that said 1 milliliter is equal to 1 cubic centimeter. So I need to change my cubic meters into cubic centimeters first. So I'm going to put meters on bottom and centimeters on top. There are 0.01 meters in 1 centimeter. But again, we can't cancel because it's not cubed. So I have to cube the top and the bottom first. Let me go ahead and figure out what this is cubed. So that would be 0.000005 zeros and a 1 cubic meters. So that's what that is. Now, my cubic meters will cancel and I'm in cubic centimeters. We have that conversion that says we can convert between cubic centimeters and milliliters at a 1-to-1 ratio. So now that will cancel out my cubic centimeters and I have my answer in milliliters. But I don't want milliliters, so I'm going to put that on bottom and put liters on top. And what is the relationship between milliliters and liters? Well, there's 0.001 liter in 1 milliliter. So that will cancel out our milliliters. And now we multiply across the top, divide everything across the bottom, and we should end up with 1,350,000 liters in that swimming pool. Very interesting problem. Our next problem is again another word problem. So these are always the fun ones that you have to really stop and think about and figure out. That's what makes mathematics fun. So this one says a straw is 25 centimeters long and 8 millimeters in diameter. How much liquid can be held in the straw at one time? Well, we have a problem here to begin with because we're talking about centimeters and millimeters. Let's have everything in terms of centimeters because I can convert centimeters to milliliters. So let's go ahead and take that 8 millimeter before we do anything else, and let's convert that over to centimeters. So again, I'm going to be doing this the dimensional analysis method. So I'm going to put millimeters on bottom, meters on top, and there is 0.001 meter in a millimeter. That cancels out my millimeters. And now I don't want meters, I want centimeters, and there's 0.01 meters in a centimeter. So that would cancel out my meters and leave me with 8 times 0.001 times 1 divided by 0.01, and we should end up with 0.8 centimeters. All right. Now, a straw, we got to stop and think about this. A straw is a right circular cylinder. So we need a formula for right circular cylinders, the volume. And our volume here is going to equal pi r squared h. This is the right circular cylinder formula for volume. Well, if you'll remember, it said this was 8 millimeters in diameter, so this was the diameter of that straw. We don't want diameter, we want the radius. So it would be half of this. So 0.4 centimeters would be our radius. We're going to use that in our formula. So our volume is going to equal pi times r, which is 0.4 centimeters squared, times the height, which they said was 25 centimeters. And when we multiply 0.4 times 0.4 times 25, we end up with 4 pi centimeters cubed. So centimeter squared times centimeter would be centimeter cubed. Now, they didn't want cubic centimeters, though. They wanted our answer in terms of milliliters. But we know there's a 1-to-1 ratio between cubic centimeters and milliliters. So that means we can say this is 4 pi milliliters. Very interesting. All right, let's see what else are we going to do. Oh, here's another word problem. This one says if a recipe calls for a half pound of chicken per person and you bought the chicken in kilograms, how much chicken is needed for 9 people? Okay, so the recipe calls for 1/2 of a pound per person, and we're having 9 people. So to begin with, let's say a half a pound times 9 people, that would end up being 9/2 pounds is what we need. Okay, now we're going to buy this though in kilograms, so we need to know how much is 9/2 pounds in kilograms. So we're going to start off with what we're given, 9/2 pounds, and put that over 1 times. Our pounds are going to go on bottom because that's what we want to cancel out, and there is a relationship between pounds and kilograms. That relationship is 1 kilogram is 2.2 pounds. So now our pounds cancel, and we end up with 9/2, or 9 divided by 2, divided by 2.2. We should end up with 2.05 kilograms is what we needed of the chicken. All right, let's do just some conversions here. And again, this is just, converting using dimensional analysis. This says convert 6750 milligrams, 6,750 milligrams to grams. So we're going to start off with what we're given, 6750 milligrams. Put that over 1. And we don't want milligrams, so we're going to put it on bottom so it will cancel. And we can change straight to grams using dimensional analysis. Their conversion factor there is 0.001 grams to 1 milligram. So that cancels out our milligrams, and our answer now is in grams. So when we do that multiplication, we get 6.75 grams. Okay, let's try another one, an English conversion this time. This one says convert 1.7 pounds to ounces. So we're going to start off with 1.7 pounds, put that over 1, and let's see, we're going to put pounds on bottom because that's what we want to cancel out, and we're going to convert that over to ounces. What is the relationship between pounds and ounces? Well, every pound is 16 ounces. So now we can cancel our pounds, and when we do our multiplication, we should get 27.2 ounces. And finally, we're going to be working with some temperature. And we do need to know how to convert it back and forth because, like I said, we are the only place that deals with Fahrenheit, which is the English measurement. Every place else in the world measures their temperature in Celsius. So, if you should ever want to travel, you'll need to have an idea of what's going on, because let's say that somebody says that it's 30 degrees Celsius. Well, if you go and pack hats and gloves and scarves and things, then you're going to be in trouble because 30 degrees Celsius is very warm. So let's go ahead and see how we need to convert these. There are formulas for converting between Celsius and Fahrenheit, and I've listed them out here. Celsius equals 5 times the Fahrenheit temperature minus 32 divided by 9. And Fahrenheit equals 9/5 of the Celsius temperature plus 32. So it just depends on where you're converting to and from as to which formula you use. So let's get an example of each of these. Our first one says convert 92 degrees Fahrenheit to Celsius. So 92 degrees Fahrenheit, that's pretty warm. We're comfortable with knowing what that is. So I'm given Fahrenheit and I want to convert to Celsius. That's going to be this first formula here. So that formula says Celsius will equal 5 times the Fahrenheit temperature, which is 92, minus 32 all over 9. So that means Celsius equals 5 times 92 minus 32, well, that would be 60, divided by 9. Let's see, I'm going to move over here. So Celsius equals 5 times 60 is 300, divided by 9. And then if we use our calculator and get a decimal equivalent there, 300 divided by 9 is 33.3 degrees. So 92 degrees Fahrenheit is 33.3 degrees Celsius. You see what I mean about if you packed your hat and gloves that you'd be way too warm? Absolutely. All right, let's look at our very last example. And it says convert 30 degrees Celsius to Fahrenheit. So we're going to have to use our other formula because we're given Celsius and we want to change it over to Fahrenheit. So Fahrenheit will equal 9/5 times the Celsius temperature, which is 30, plus 32. So whenever I simplify this, let's see, 5 goes into 30 6 times. So my Fahrenheit temperature would equal 9 times 6, which is 54, plus 32. So my Fahrenheit temperature would equal 86 degrees. So 30 degrees Celsius is 86 degrees Fahrenheit.